do from childhood on. And we put those in files that are thought forms, and those thought forms keep coming up. And all of those thought forms, they are based on what happened in our childhood. So an example would be you take two kids that are maybe, fourth, fifth grade, teacher asks a question, one of them puts their hand up, comes up with an answer that the teacher praises, and all the other kids say, smart kid. You're going to see that kid volunteer and have a lot of confidence in himself. You take the kid sitting next to him, same situation, comes up with an answer that's embarrassing, gets a reaction from the teacher that isn't supportive, the other kids in the class laugh at him. There you got the real good underpinnings of a kid who's not going to be volunteering and isn't going to think of himself as smart. And those patterns don't really change. They're going to go from cradle to the grave with those misinterpretations that came, because at that one time that interpretation may have been right. They may have made a silly remark in the fifth grade. But the voice in your head is going to tell you for the rest of your life, at all situations like that, the applicable lesson in childhood is still valid. But we make these understandings, and we don't really change them. They just keep going on an automatic pilot unless we learn to do that whack-a-mole thing and distinguish, wow, that's just a thought that came up, and it may or may not be true. I may have other options. But the voice in our head is incredibly territorial. It doesn't want to hear anything that says it may be right or wrong. I'm sure all of you have an experience with a therapist, either personally or through friends in your life. And there isn't one of us who hasn't at one point or another been said, hey, check it out, or some other pop psychology thing. And probably about 30% of the people will try it out, and their voice in their head is either desperate or it's not so territorial that it's afraid. The other 70% probably have a territorial thing in their head that says, I don't want to take the risk of losing my bossness in it. And that's the voice in the head. That isn't your goodness. That isn't who you are. Who you are is someone that is, whether you believe in God or the Star Wars, forces, whatever it is, I think we all agree there's probably something out there, and everything is connected to it. That voice in the head is not connected to it. What's connected to it is the beingness who we are. And the voice in the head works for the beingness, but the beingness more often than not doesn't know that that's the pecking order. The voice in our head is totally fear-based. Pretty much with all the thoughts we have had, all of them, they are generally either thoughts something that happened from the past, or the thoughts of something that we're thinking may happen in the future. That voice in our head is predicting. It is predicting everything. It probably predicted what you were having for dinner, probably predicted how long this is going to go on. We are predicting machines. And everything we are predicting in general is to protect ourselves. You don't find possibilities in that voice in the head. That voice in the head is not saying, wow, I'm going to meet the person of my dreams tonight and we're going to be happy ever after. What the voice in the head is doing is scanning every person it meets and saying, am I afraid of that? Do I have a chance of having sex with this one? Whatever it is, it's predicting. It's just not there on its own. It's not going to be free-flowing. Again, it's purely survival. That voice in the head has, it's like an octopus. And the octopus has its various tentacles. And it has one tentacle in your pain, like it has another one in your yes, no. It controls everything. And as soon as something comes up, if there were right now a really big trembler in the room, like an earthquake, there wouldn't be a one of us that doesn't automatically have the voice in our head commandeer what we're doing. Some of the voices in our head will say, get under the table. Some will say, run out of the room. Some the others will say, I'll watch what this guy does. But we have lost total control of what we're doing and who we are as soon as that voice in the head is activated. You don't have choice in it. What you do have choice in is knowing that there is a voice in the head doing it. So when you really know that you are not that voice in your head, you can go back to the voice in the head and you can say, what really happened? Pretty much the answer to all things in life is looking at it like like it's something where you say, what happened? Somebody said something. What did they say? They made a dumb remark. Should I go nuts because somebody else made a dumb remark? That's something that the voice in your head isn't going to get. That's something you have to distinguish by just looking at what actually happened. The voice in the head isn't you, it's your machinery. It's not the person that told you, and pretty much one of the things that most all of us do in everything is we allow our happiness to be in somebody else's hands. If they say you look good, hey, good, I think I look good. If they say you look bad, no, I look terrible. Everybody, if they say you're doing well, you're successful, hey, great. If they say you're a loser, you go right back to first base. So we can't let our happiness be in some other person's hands. If you remember when computers first were, when we all first got familiar with computers, there was an expression, garbage in, garbage out. And that meant if you programmed it right, you're probably going to get the right answer. If you programmed it wrong, you're going to get an answer that's wrong, only you won't know. You didn't know you put the garbage in. We have probably 30–40% of the lessons we have in our head it's garbage. The reason it's garbage is because it's misfiled. We are past-based people. We think because something was this way before, it will be this way again. So that past-based part of us makes our past into our future. We don't even have a choice what our life's going to be like because we expect that if we spend money, we're going to be broke. We expect if we bet on the roulette wheel, it's either a smart decision or a dumb decision. We don't have choice whether to bet on the roulette wheel or not. We don't have choice what we do because it's what happened in the past is what we believe is our navigation system for the future. And most of those things that we're applying that to are literally misfiled. They worked in the situation when you were a kid, at least you thought they did, but it's not applicable to today. Examples of this, like my personal favorite is abandonment. I do everything I can so that the people I care about don't abandon me. Unfortunately, my strategy has not worked, and I have thrown everything I had at doing it, and yet still, even though I know that, if one of the people close to me came up and I felt that I was doing something they're going to run out on me for, my common sense, my control of my own destiny, out the window, octopus comes right back in, hey, let me throw money at the problem, let me make it right, what can I do? That's the way it is. That's why the enlightenment, that growth, you have to keep starting, you have to reboot your knowingness on a moment-by-moment or daily basis. And no choice about that. Again, I had lunch with a young man today that I've been mentoring. I mean, he's a very successful young guy, 28 years old, in the real estate business, made a lot of money even in this bad marketplace. And he's telling me that his biggest thing is fear he's going to miss out on the marketplace that we're in right now. Everybody will accept probably that we're at the low of real estate values. So some of us, if you accept that in 10 years things are going to be a lot more valuable than they are literally today, you can't make a mistake. This guy is afraid he's not going to get enough stuff in. And I keep asking him, why do you use the word fear? And he must have used that word in an hour-and-a-half lunch 100 times. I'm afraid of this, I'm afraid of that. Handsome, young, great guy. Why is it fear-based? That's the voice in the head. And until he gets that there's nothing to be afraid of, he's going to be an unhappy camper no matter how well he does, and he's going to be putting himself down because of all the Donald Trumps on television. The main thing you have to know when you get control of that voice in your head and you know you have options is things are going to be interesting along the way. I'm having a hard time reading that myself. The color blue doesn't work. These are because of our organizing principles. We start off with organizing principles. An organizing principle, the main organizing principle that it comes with is feelings aren't facts. I used to go to a therapist who was a fabulous guy, and probably for 4 or 5 years, he kept saying, Steve, feelings aren't facts. And I thought, I don't know what that means, but it annoyed me, because I kept wanting to tell him the facts. Finally, my love, Victoria, likes to talk about this now, which is Brew 102. You guys are all, give or take, of my generation when you probably, if you were in California, remember that commercial, Brew 102, when